Good morning and God bless you. We are going to kick off this week. It's Monday. So happy Monday to everybody. I pray that you had a wonderfully blessed weekend. So we are now going to start with our morning devotional for Monday, July 18th, 2022. Devotional is coming from Numbers, 2nd chapter, verse 31. Says, they shall go hindmost with their standards. And the ESV, it says, all those listed of the camp of Dan were 157,600. They shall set out last, standard by standard. The camp of Dan brought up the rear when the armies of Israel were on the march. The Danites occupied the hindmost place. But what mattered, the position, since they were as truly part of the host as were the foremost tribes. They followed the same fiery cloud pillar. They ate of the same manna, drank of the same spiritual rock, and journeyed to the same inheritance. Come, my heart, cheer up. Thou last and least, it is thy privilege to be in the army and to fare as the fair who lead the van. Someone must be hindmost in honor and esteem. Someone must do the menial work for Jesus, and why should not I? In a poor village among an ignorant peasantry, or in a back street among degraded sinners, I will work on and go hindmost with my standards. So here, one of the things that I would like to say is, we see that the camp of Dan were bringing up the rear. They were in the hindmost place, okay? But yet, they were still part of everything else. They still followed the same, as it says, fiery cloud pillar. They ate the same manna. They drank the spirit. They still journeyed to the same inheritance, okay? So furthermore, as we see here, we need to not be so dismissive with people who may not be in the best of scenarios, okay, who may be in different levels of sin, and that could be categorized as maybe be more in sin than others, okay? And so here, in a poor village among an ignorant peasantry, or in a back street among degraded sinners, I will work on and go hindmost to standard. So we are called to share the gospel with all people, okay? It should be no one exempt from hearing the word of God and hearing the gospel of Jesus Christ, okay? Reading on, the Danites occupied a very useful place. Stragglers had to be picked up upon the march. Being in the military, this is something that I can absolutely relate to and understand. Whenever we did a run, or whenever we did a ruck march or anything like that, we would we would stop and wait for people to catch up. We would do what's called the wagon wheel, or we would circle back and go and get those people, because you never want to leave your people behind. And as Christians, we're the same thing, especially in this spiritual war that we're in. We don't want to leave our people behind. And so being in the rear and is a very important place, So don't, no one should ever feel based on quote unquote the position as if they're in the rear or whatever the case may be. There's a very important position in that, and we should never leave those people. So we should always have to go back, and we should always go back and pick up our stragglers. Okay, stragglers have to be picked up on the march, and lost property has to be gathered from the field. Fiery spirits may dash forward over untrodden paths to learn fresh truth and win more souls to Jesus. But some of a more conservative spirit may be well engaged in reminding the church of her ancient faith and restoring her fainting sons. Every position has its duties. We're all called, and we all have a walk that we're supposed to do. God has already written out the plan for our lives. Well, his plan for our lives, okay? We are to strive to be in his will and to walk in that purpose in which he has already written for us. And by us walking in that, by us being obedient in that, we are in obedience to him in his will for our lives that he has already written out. Okay, so we all have. Some people are going to be evangelists. Some people are going to be pastors. Some are going to be professors. Some are going to be lawyers. Some are going to be taxi cab drivers. There's all different types of people. But here's the thing. As you're doing that, it's all for the glory of God. And just because let's take the taxi cab driver, just because you're a taxi cab driver does not mean that God will not use you to bring someone to Jesus Christ. Okay, so we should never diminish or second guess or even just kind of dismiss whatever it is. You do not have to be in the ministry or be a pastor or be an evangelist or a teacher as such in order to be used by God or to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Okay, do not feel as well. I just work as I just work in the corporate world. Okay, do it and make sure that as people see you, they see the glory of Jesus Christ, and be bold and be ready always to give an answer, as it says in 1 Timothy 3:15, and also be prepared to make disciples and to share the word, to be used by God for the opportunity. Okay? Every position has its duties, and they are slow-moving children of God will find their peculiar state in which they may be eminently a blessing to the whole host. The rear guard is a place of danger. There are foes behind us as well as before us. Attacks may come from any quarter. We read that Amalek fell upon Israel and slew some of the hindmost of them. The experienced Christian will find much work for his weapons in aiding those poor, doubting, despondent, wavering souls who are hindmost in faith, knowledge, and joy. These must not be left unaided, and therefore be it the business of well-taught saints to bear their standards among the hindmost. My soul, do you tenderly watch to help the hindmost this day. So again, we should always be looking for those. Look for those who may be struggling. You got to circle around and get them back up and bring them back up. Always be on the look, because the enemy absolutely can come from the behind, can actually come from the rear. Okay, they can try and come from the flanks, from the side. Okay, it's not always just going to be right in front of you. So, this is a wonderful devotional. I don't want to, get tongue-tied and just keep talking over and over, because I really believe that it explains itself here. Okay, so each position has a responsibility, and whatever position that you're in and wherever God has you right now, do that for the glory of God, and understand that you can be used in any position, whether you're in the tip of the spear or whether you're in the back bringing up the stragglers and bringing those that may have stumbled and fell and lost back up to the forefront. Okay? And always keeping on the alert to ensure that the enemy doesn't come from behind. So I pray that this blessed you. And I pray that you have a most wonderfully blessed week. It is Monday, so let's start the week off amazing and be a blessing to somebody on today. And Lord willing, we will be back later on this afternoon, this evening, for the evening devotional for Monday, July 18th, 2022. God bless.